Hello and welcome back. Today we are going to discuss about discounting principle and equimarginal principle of managerial economics. So let us start with discounting principle. So what is this discounting principle and what it says? So we know our future is very uncertain. What is going to happen next moment we do not know. Same way in the business also. Whether the business will result in profit or whether it's going to incur losses, no one can say exactly what's going to happen. Everyone, and in the same way, we know that a rupee today is worth more than a rupee after some period of time. Uh, it is quite similar to the saying, a bird in hand is better than two in the bush. So, what you have in hand now at the present moment is more valuable or more worth than what you have stored or kept it somewhere. That is what it means. So, what is the meaning of this discounting principle? According to this principle, if a decision affects costs and revenues in long run, all those costs and revenues must be discounted to present values before valid comparison of alternatives is possible. According to this principle, if a decision involves costs and revenues, for example, if we want to invest in some projects, so that project requires some investment and surely it's going to fetch some returns after some period of time. So there is cost and revenues involved in that project. So whatever we invest, it will give us return after some period of time, maybe after 2 years, after 3 years, or after 5 years. And what we invest today is more worth than what return we are going to get over a period of time. So, before investing in such projects, we should know what is the worth of that revenue, what we get after 2 years, what is its worth today, and we have to compare it with the returns and costs involved in alternative projects to compare and take a decision. A decision will be the one which gives us the maximum benefit or maximum returns. So, to check or to find out which project gives the maximum return, we have to calculate the present value of all the returns which we are going to receive over a period of time, maybe at the end of the second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, and so on. So, that is what actually this principle says. Why we need to find out the worth of money today, the earnings what we are going to get after 2 years or 3 years? That is because the money today is more valuable than the money after some period of time, and the process of reducing the future amount to the present value is termed as discounting. The interest rate used is discounting rate, and this will be clear if we consider an example. So here let us consider that if I ask you, I would give you 1000 rupees today or 1000 rupees next year. Which one would you prefer? Me giving you 1000 rupees today or me giving you 1000 rupees next year? Naturally, the answer will be 1000 rupees today. You may think that my decision would change after some period of time. I may not give 1000, that is one case. Or you may say that if I give you 1000 today, you will deposit somewhere or you will lend it to someone and earn a return. So, uh, let us assume you can earn 10% interest during a year. One may say that I would be indifferent between 1000 today and rupees 1100 next year, that is rupees 1100 as the present worth of rupees 1000. So, here for making a decision in regard to any investment which will yield a return over a period of time, it is advisable to find out its net present value. So, 1100 after 1 year what is its worth today? So we have to find it out. So if a project is giving us 10,000 after 1 year, what is its worth today? That is what we need to find out. And to find out its present value, we have to make use of the rate at which it has to be discounted. That we call it as rate of interest or rate of discounting. So this concept of discounting is useful in managerial decision making, usually in case of capital budgeting decisions, which project should be accepted, which project should be rejected, and in which project it is more beneficial to invest our money. In such decisions, we make use of this discounting principle. So what is discounting principle now? We find out the present value of future cash inflows of a project to which we invest our funds. So if a project is giving us 5,000 rupees at the end of each 5 years, what is that 5 year at the end of second year is worth today? For that purpose, we make use of discounting principle. And according to this principle, amount after 1 year is quite less. Its worth is more today than what it is after 1 year. Okay. So the formula what we use for calculating present value is equal to A divided by 1 plus I, where PV is the present value, A is future value. So what we expect after 1 year, what is the return expected after 1 year or 2 years, that is A. And I is the rate of interest, and here the rate of interest taken as 5%. So present value will be equal to 100 divided by 1 plus 0.05, that is 1.05, is equal to 95.24. So here what it means is rupees 100 after 1 year is worth rupees 95.24 today. So if I give you 95.24 rupees today, that is equal to 100 rupees at the end of 1 year. That is what actually this means. Similarly, the present value of rupees 100, which will be discounted at the end of 2 years or more. So for 2 years or more, the formula will be present value is equal to A divided by 1 plus I whole to the power n. So when the number of years is increasing 2 and more, then we have to add n to the power 1 plus I whole to the power n. Okay. So this is about discounting principle. So discounting principle, we need to calculate the present value of future cash flows to decide about whether a particular project to be accepted or not, whether it is beneficial to invest in a particular project or not. Specifically, it is used in capital budgeting decisions. Next is equimarginal principle. So this principle suggests that available resources, we know in economics we are making use of limited resources to match the unlimited human wants. So when the resources are limited in nature, it should be allocated such a way that the alternative options in such a way that the marginal utility gains or marginal productivity from the various activities are equalized. So there are certain conditions for making use of this principle. They are in the sense this principle can be used only in these situations, that is the resources what an investor has are limited. So investable resources are limited and resources have alternative uses. So the first thing is that the businessman is having limited resources to invest, and those resources have alternative uses. You can use it for various purposes, and alternative uses are subject to diminishing marginal utility. So here diminishing marginal utility means the marginal utility obtained by investing in additional units, it goes on decreasing. So here it means marginal productivity of A is equal to marginal productivity of B. So when the last unit invested in each of the alternatives, the marginal productivity is the same. That is what this principle actually means. You have to look into such a situation and take decision such a way that the marginal productivity obtained from each of the uh, alternatives alternative activities are equalized. So here is the example. Let us assume a firm is having 100 crores of rupees which can be spent on 3 projects, and each unit expenditure is 10 crores of rupees. So there are 3 projects: project A, project B, and project C. You can see here there is project A, project B, and project C. Units of expenditure: 1 unit means 10 crores. So when the first unit is invested, project A will give 50 marginal productivity, B will be giving 40 marginal productivity, and project C is giving 35 marginal productivity. So at the first case, 10 crores of rupees, if you take into consideration the first unit of investment, if you look into the whole data here, in which one you are going to invest. So which one will give the maximum MP, the highest marginal productivity, that we are going to invest. So out of the whole data given in the table, project A will be giving a highest marginal productivity of 50. So the first unit will be invested in project A. After investing the first unit in project A, the remaining data, if you look into, project B is giving 40 marginal productivity, and project A again is giving 45 productivity. So the second unit will be again invested in project A. After investing the second unit, if you look into the whole table, the project B will be giving a marginal productivity of 40. So the third unit will be invested on project B. So like that, if you go on allotting each unit of 10 crores to each project, finally the 8th unit will be invested on project A, which would give 20 MP. 9th will be on project B, 10th will be on project C. So each of these projects, 8th, 9th and 10th, that is the last 3 units, will be giving the same marginal productivity, that is 20, 20, 20. So the allocations in case of equimarginal principle says that the productivity from each alternative will be equalized. So the investment will be made in such a way. So how to allocate the unit investments here? So look into the one which gives the highest marginal productivity. In the first case, you go on allotting them. At the end, the investment 8, 9 and 10 units gives the same marginal productivity. So equimarginal principle is one of the widely based concepts in managerial economics. It is also known as the principle of maximum satisfaction by allocating available resources to get optimum benefit. See, this principle is made use of by the consumers to maximize their satisfaction while buying the products or consuming the products, and by the businessman or the investor while allocating his resources to maximize his profit. So according to this principle, an input should be allocated in such a way that the value added by the last unit is the same in all cases. So this is what the discounting principle and the equimarginal principle actually means, and both the principles are used in managerial economics while taking important decisions. Okay, thank you.